The universal law of cause and effect states that for every effect, there's a definite cause. In turn, for every cause, there's a definite effect. Your thoughts, behaviors, and actions create specific effects that manifest and create your life as you know it today. You're tuning into the Cause and Effect podcast, where we discuss society and culture the best way we know how.
Need a village. Nigga is popping. He goes crazy, man.
I needed that shot, man. We needed that shot, man.
Yeah, we here.
Needed that.
Cause and Effect podcast.
Activo, tú sabes.
Season 2, man.
Empezando de nuevo.
And it's crazy to say Season 2, man.
Yeah, it is.
We did some solid 6 episodes on Season 1. We talked about some real dope shit. And we were able to invite people in our perspective,
in our
experiences.
You know, the things that we went through and how we interpreted them and how it got us to where we are today, man.
Yeah. Cultura.
Tú sabes.
Oh, man.
Flex that shit.
Yeah.
Tú sabes.
Go shop, causeandeffectpod.com.
Well, not yet. Not that one yet.
But you get a view. You get an idea of what's coming out, you know?
Custom work right there. So,
but,
you know, Season 1 was the floor plan. Like, we invited people in. Now, we're talking about everyday things. We're a society and culture podcast. This is what we're here for. To talk about the cause and effect.
And our experiences.
And our experiences.
The cause and effect in our lives, it had in our lives, and that we see this happening in other people's lives as well.
Yeah. So that's why that song sets the tone, because he talks about, like, you know, he said, your brain is rotten, but you don't give a fuck because you're popping.
Yeah.
Like, that speaks volume.
OD volumes, man.
Volume,
Things
right?
have changed so much from when we were kids. You know, because I was thinking behind the scenes, we was talking about how this whole thing, like, we are like the middle child, not only when it comes to music, but when it comes to a lot of things, technology primarily, you know, social media and things like that. Like, we were here before the cell phone, and like,
we were here for it when it was introduced.
We was here before, we was here for it, and we're here like now.
A whole evolution of shit happened before us, and we're only able to look back at it now because where we're at with it. You know, we look at just technology, and in the digital era we're in today, you know, when you talk about where it started, dial-up internet, home computers.
Yeah, when you think about internet, you feel like you live for like 1,000 years. Like, it advanced so much, you feel like, bruh, there's no way.
And this is the thing, though. We have moments where we fucking spoiled shitless. Like, we complain about a lag in a 5G, 4G internet when we had dial-up internet. If your mom picked up the phone, it was over for us.
Phone, like, bruh. No.
Fam, like, it's crazy because sometimes I do look back at that. Like I've been watching Jerry Seinfeld on Hulu, and I love watching it. But then it also just brings so much, like, things. And I wasn't even around for his time when that show was around. But I could relate on so many, you know, areas where you had to call somebody from your house and make sure they knew the plan as soon as you walked out that house. Because if you walked out the house and the plan changed, there's no way you would know unless you had a couple quarters to go to the payphone if you remember the person's number. Mm-hmm. You know, we were obligated in some way to remember people's numbers. Like, at least the main niggas, at least the nigga with the car. Yeah. Whoever had the car, you had to have that person's number.
We had to know people's number back then. That's true. I don't know nobody's number. I only know probably one number.
Yeah.
That's it.
Your mom?
Yeah, I know my mom's, my girls. Like, I don't even know my home number because I call, but I just have it stored. I don't have the need to remember that shit. And that's where I feel like that's another thing. Like, we can talk about your brain being rotten in so many perspectives. Because, you know, when we don't exercise that muscle that we have, the most powerful muscle in our fucking body, it literally rots. Like, certain areas, like, you're supposed to stretch it. And, you know, because of technology, it makes a lot of things easier for us, so we don't stretch our brain the way we used to. So it's like we have to find ways to stretch our brain.
Isn't it your
To
dad
be
that
able
has
to
a
make up for
smartphone,
that.
but he still remembers all the phone numbers? Like he
Yes.
don't save them?
Yup, because he
Shit's
doesn't
mad
he doesn't
wild.
like he can't save numbers, but he knows how to remember numbers.
Yeah.
So he's like, I remember the last 4 numbers, or at least I remember. He always makes sure that he finds like a way to just mental capture it. In
That's
his brain.
good. That's
You know,
because he
store it.
lived longer than us, obviously. So he
Fam.
had more
Bro.
You
time.
have to go there.
Even here, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, for a very long time. So
When was the first time you guys experienced social media? Like the first profile you created?
mine was local hookups. I was introduced to it by my. It's crazy because he was old. He's older than me.
Mhm.
So like it's like I got it from the older cat. Like he was already on it, and Mi Gente. He was on Mi Gente.
Mm.
So when Mi Gente started kind of
Mi
fading
Gente.
out, local hookups came in. And then I was like, let me give this a shot. I was like, what, 13, 14 when I first did that, when I first went on
Damn,
Facebook.
you was that age, and I was super
Yeah.
young when I had Mi Gente. Or I
Yeah.
got introduced to it later on,
Maybe.
probably because I had Mi Gente.
Yeah, because it was down, I mean, it was down here for a
I
little
think
bit.
I was like 13, 12, 12
Yeah.
13,
Yeah.
I think probably.
That was my first social media account. Mi Gente. Then it was High Five, and then it was MySpace.
And it's crazy how it started like all dating. It started like dating sites at first.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, social media developed and it branched off into other things,
Mhm.
more social things and dating. They still have like Bumble, they have like
Now they have
and all that.
Tinder, Hinge.
Still have a little bit of dating, but before it was primarily that. That's the crazy
Yeah.
thing.
Shout out to
I found-
Rendezvous. We had, that.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're talking about dating apps. Rendezvous. That's a dope dating app. But to stay on that point, I might not remember. Maybe you guys do. MSN Messenger and AIM, was that before or after, or in the same time of social media, like Mi Gente?
That was
all
before.
It was before that,
AIM
right?
was way before.
Because I had AIM. I just had it.
AOL. AIM was
AIM.
AOL.
AIM came in the cereal boxes with the AOL.
Oh, the CD! Wow! That's the AOL.
Shit.
That was AOL. The free trials, the 30-day trials
Yeah,
and stuff.
30-day trials.
How did
that
they
shit.
market themselves?
Dude,
Like
cereal
that's
boxes.
that's a very
Yeah.
smart way to fucking market
You used
your
to get
kids.
cereal- you used to
To
get
kids
cereal boxes
especially.
to get free trials.
To kids especially, boy. They were aiming at us.
They'll mail that shit to your house, put it
Yeah.
in cereal boxes, everything.
They were aiming at us.
They send links now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was crazy.
No, but-
That's crazy. You remember that? That's some wild shit.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
I remember having AIM, and my AIM was DR's Come Plátano.
Yo, what is he?
That sounded
With a
with a
Z.
Z. Remember that? DR's Come Plátano. That sounded mad crazy. That's a
And
long
hella-
pause.
And hella underscores.
That's a long pause. Why the
Yo,
fuck
word.
was I don't know. That sounded cool.
We were more mature back then.
Because then after that, yeah. Then I had another one that was like NJ's Most Wanted 05.
Word?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They didn't give me that. Mine was always Young Hood.
Mine was
Young
like
Hood
Young
55.
Hood.
I think I had one. DR's Papi Chulo or something like that.
Yeah.
You did have
You
some
did
shit
Some
like
shit
that.
like that. Yeah.
For me though, the whole chatting thing started on Yahoo. Like when that was in 8th grade. I remember that. It started like Yahoo. I used to log in, wait forever for for the AOL that.
We're gonna insert that sound right there.
Yeah, word that. Well, I mean, I think I did a pretty good job of impersonating
Yeah, no, we did
Yeah.
good.
but no, for
Watch the
real.
little man run and shit.
Hey, yo, I used to hate it though. I used to be there for like 15 minutes and then it just freeze up and it never moved from there. I'm
Bruh.
like, you kidding me?
Nah, yeah, and then the kids, and then you get a dial tone, and then you have to call again. You ever had that? And then after it calls like 3 times, then one of your family members calls, then your mom just picks up the phone,
Oh my
and
God.
everything just drops. Right? Like,
Yo, that's it. Like,
like I've been
Yep.
here for.
You know
like,
what? You know what's funny that y'all talk about those struggles. I lived those struggles very short because when I got my first home computer, you guys probably been had one, and at that point,
95.
and I had one at a young age, but I was only using for games. I didn't know about any websites like that. And as I got older, then I started experiencing those little
What you play,
frustrations.
solitary pinball.
Yeah, yeah. And then I would go
In school, that's what I
online.
used to
The
play in
one with the
school.
little bombs. Remember the one?
Yeah.
I forgot.
For me, it started with computers where I would go on www.games.com, something like that, and I would
Yeah.
play a bunch of random
Yeah, they used to
games.
send. They also used to put games on cereal boxes.
Yeah.
CD-ROMs of games and shit.
Mhm.
CDs were a thing. Fernando had a whole book like
Yeah.
a whole
bunch of
maletica
games.
lleno de
games?
CDs.
All type of games, bro.
Not music. I had a little thing of just music CD.
I remember when Disney started doing like the whole skate, like it was like a whole sport thing with all the Disney characters, and it's like you would get a cereal just for the game in it. Like there was times that I got a cereal 3 times, and I wouldn't eat it. My mother was mad as fuck, and she knew I was getting that shit for the game.
For the game.
And that shit would just sit there like, fuck you, not gonna eat that shit. Like the nasty ones.
It was coming with the pops.
ones with the raisins and shit.
Oh, I was
like,
about to say that pops was nasty.
Nah, pops was banger. You bugging.
Yeah,
The
it's
ones with
nasty.
the raisins, I used to just leave that shit in.
The Raisin Brain.
Raisin Bran, yeah. I didn't fuck with that.
You know when I think about Yahoo, I didn't. Did I use Yahoo?
Yo, Yahoo was
I
lit.
got catfish on Yahoo.
Let's talk about that.
What do you mean by cabbage?
I got catfish. I don't know how. I have no idea how I bumped into her. I don't remember. And we started following. We started chatting on Yahoo and all this and that. She sent me pictures. I showed we showed each other's pictures.
You showed nigga. You say I showed. You showed her what?
Pictures of me.
Pictures
Dude,
of you.
we weren't doing that.
She wasn't selling dick
We
pictures?
had no. Like I didn't have that type of webcam. Like I had to go to their house and take pictures and then. Homer's computer. So imagine me doing that.
Yeah.
And his mom walked in the dining room like, what the fuck are you doing? But so we did that, whatever. We exchanged numbers, called after 9. Free calls
Free
after
minutes,
9,
baby.
free minute after 9.
Shit was
And on
really limited
weekends.
back then.
Yeah.
And on weekends. And
Used to run them shits.
yeah, we used to talk because there was no texting.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, long story short, like it got to a point where I was like, yo, like I got a webcam now, like we gotta, like, we get a chance to see each other. And it was always a problem. So I'm like,
Red flag number one, buddy.
Red flag number 1 until whatever. Like I kept getting mad, and I got mad one time, and she called me, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm over here crying because I've been wanting to tell you, but I don't want to tell you. But I don't want to lose our relationship. Whatever." Long story short, she showed me that. I'm like, "What the fuck?"
So y'all were in a relationship?
Nah, like, well, whatever, like whatever was going on, like
Yeah, long distance shit.
yeah, whatever that shit was. And yeah, long story short, it turned out not to be her. Like it was a girl, but it just wasn't that girl. Like on the picture, like it was. I don't know if that was her cousin. I don't know who the fuck that was.
Yo, Fernando could have started the show Catfish. He didn't even know it.
Word. I would have been
Crazy,
famous.
yo.
This
I
is
would
long.
have been famous.
This long distance shit. That he started booming around that time. Like everybody was having.
It was
long
nigga,
distance
you were, because
relationships.
this is the
It was
thing.
so
Oh, yeah.
easy.
But that's the thing, though. Imagine how many people got catfish.
Oh, hell
That's
yeah.
when people were knowing that were figuring out they didn't have to use their real picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's an example. I went through that shit.
Yeah.
I went through that shit on Vadu, whatever that.
Uvo, right?
Uvo.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I was talking to this person before Uvo,
Yeah.
right? And then I downloaded the app, and I remember asking, I got a webcam, and at that time, I was living in the Dominican Republic, and we were kind of upset that we had to move from the U.S. to DR. So anything I would ask for, my dad would make sure, like, let me keep these motherfuckers happy because they already got deprived of living, the life they were living. But we were good in DR. We just didn't like the environment because we had to get used to something new. So he got me a webcam. That shit was lit, and I'm like, oh, it's game over. Because at that time the video chat was popping.
Yeah.
So, long story short, the person always just left their photo and asked me to go on cam, right? And it was like building that trust until like that person's like cool, like like she's like mad confianzuda, be like, yo, take your shirt off. Like, alright, shit, like you gonna send me some? Yeah, I got you. Yo, take your pants off. Alright, I got you. Boom, sitting on the chair, just chilling. And then she said, like, yeah, just chilling.
Stick on boxes.
Yeah, just chilling. Un flaquenco, just chilling. And whatever. I don't know the actions, but I know that she was sending like like cleavage, pictures that weren't like girls are doing today.
Yeah.
At that point, it was more of like, oh, nice body pics, whatever.
Yeah, that was.
So I got excited, and I'm going crazy. I'm like, oh, she about to go on cam. So I think it got to a point where I kind of like exposed myself completely naked, right? and this is where the real red flag. But at the same time, I was so unfamiliar to the game because I didn't know that there was like ways where people could lie and say they were somebody they weren't.
Yeah.
And this person says, yo, like show me your ass, like,
Whoa.
what? So I got uncomfortable. So so this is the thing. I got uncomfortable because I'm like, wait,
Show me your ass.
I've never had an interaction with a female that wants to see my ass. So I'm kind of confused, like, I'm confused as fuck. So, alright, I turn around.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah.
Oh.
The part that gets crazy is when the person goes, alright, now, like spread them.
Spread the butt cheeks.
Spread the butt cheeks. And
Was he like a
I
prison
said,
guard? Was he used to
listen, how do you know it was a he? Alright, this motherfucker.
Nigga, what girl
But,
wants to see your butthole?
That's what I'm saying. But look, okay, so hear me out.
Alright.
I'm thinking, listen to my logic.
I'm listening.
Listen, I'm thinking it's possible that people have weird fetishes.
That's true.
Cool.
That's true.
I remember around that time, you know, I remember.
Benefit of the doubt.
Listen, I remember people having conversations about like sending feet pictures, and to me that's nasty. So like, I kind of relate this in my
Somebody's
eyes.
feet after walking in the yard.
Shit. This is dangerous.
That's exactly what I would do to
That was
that shit.
dangerous. So.
Alright.
That it got to that point, right? So then I'm like, all right, cool. So like as I'm doing this shit, right? Listen, as I'm doing this shit, right? This is where shit got really uncomfortable, and I shut that camera off. Person says, all right, now put your finger in there. Fam, the minute that person said that, I was like, this is not a girl. It's not a girl. I
told you.
Nigga, I told you. Yeah, you should have been around. No, you should have not been around. Not for that moment. But
imagine opening the door and the first thing is
First thing you see is this nigga. Oh, shit.
the attempt to
No,
do
it's
that.
not what it looks like.
Fam, listen, I said, yo, I got so
Yes.
mad. I was like, yo, there's no fucking way a girl would want that. So like I unclicked, and then the person's just like, why are you doing that? And then at this point, that we got to the point where like you're calling people baby and all this stuff. Like, yo, baby, like why you doing that? Like why you like? And I'm like,
makes you feel
that
vulnerable.
that is crazy. No, I said if you are who you say you are, you gotta send me a video. You gotta do something like you
Yeah.
gotta not video. You gotta video chat me. We gotta see each other.
Yeah.
Cause that was crazy.
And you
I
never
said
heard?
that shit was crazy, and that person blocked me after that. So after that, I was like, damn, my nigga, I was traumatized. I was like,
Nah, so the message
Could've
but
reported
fuck.
that
I was like, who was watching me on the other side of that fucking screen?
That's
yo,
crazy, bro.
but thankfully though, you didn't have no like screen record or like none of that.
Nigga, if that would have happened in this generation,
that was a rap.
oh
Thankfully.
my.
That's a rap.
He should've
First of
done
all,
this,
I'm
bro.
not this age doing that. I'm not stupid enough for doing that. But
That was some wild shit.
that was like, yo, talking about catfish, my nigga. That was, and I never, and you know the mystery of not knowing who the fuck was behind the camera
Nah,
was what fucked
traumatizing.
me the most, bro.
That's traumatizing. That's
like
trauma.
I was like, yo, fam, somebody was getting off behind the camera. I don't know if it was a girl or not now. And they had, and now that I think about it, like I looked pretty young in that in those pictures that I had. That person looked pretty mature. So
Yeah.
when I think back at it, I was like, damn, there was so many red flags.
Yeah.
But
I
as
mean,
you as a
you don't think about
young
it.
kid on the internet, today there's kids that experience way worse.
Oh, hell yeah.
Way worse.
They gotta go through way worse.
Way worse. There's dudes that openly, and not even young kids, like girls openly sending dick pictures on a regular. Like there's guys that do that, and you hear that, and you're like, I wouldn't do that shit. So like when I think about that, I be like, fam, at least unsolicited. Like if she never asked you for that, what you doing? Getting in some girl DM, sending a dick
The
picture.
first thing you do is to send
The
dick pic.
fuck? How,
Hey.
yo, that's some sick shit. So like
It
that's what we
happens.
like. Fast forward, that's where we're at with life right
Yeah,
now.
but that's how you know things
Because,
have.
because, hey, oh, I seen you at the mall. What the fuck?
Here's my dick. Like different. That shit is different. But that was traumatizing for me, bro. And I keep it a bean. I think I stayed offline for a while after that because I was really like
You needed
thinking
a
about
break,
life.
wouldn't
I
blame
needed a
you.
break. I was taking a break.
Contemplate.
I would have probably been in my
Man.
room like,
Like Stewie Griffin, like when he was traumatized.
just fetal position, just chilling.
Yeah, facts. And
Oh my God.
then, you know, thinking about those experiences, those were early on, you know, online experiences, right? I got smarter. Then the dating game
Yeah.
started because now, like, you go through some shit like that, and now you really ask some real important questions. You ask for proof. Like, you become very, very guarded about who you're talking to because you don't want to invest time also on somebody that you would not date in real life. You know, so I had many long distance relationships because I was living in the Dominican
Yeah,
Republic.
wasn't it crazy when everybody had, like, when somebody had a long relationship with someone,
Long distance?
long distance, and it's like you had the picture of like the split, like the split of the two
Yeah, I
the
know.
two cameras and shit on every single thing, MSN, AIM, whatever
That was an
social
announcement.
media you was in, like, yo, it was the same.
The minute you took that
everywhere.
shit off,
Yeah,
se fue. Se fue. So I mean, what were you guys doing online as soon as like y'all got on MySpace?
Raffy.
Wow, what about me?
No, like what were y'all doing on MySpace? Like for me, it was only like I had my top friends. I was trying to get popular. Like I started thinking about
Word,
it.
that
We were
shit
trying
was-
to grow our social media since MySpace
Yeah.
because I remember
Yeah.
wanting to be popular, be on everybody's top 10.
And made
I
it.
wanted to have my dope music.
Yeah.
I wanted to have the fire background
Yeah.
with this. So like I was
Used to
always
have
checking people's
arguments with
shit.
people when you used to move them around. Like, yo, I was your top 2. Like, why the
Yeah,
fuck did I become
yeah.
your 4th?
Catch feelings.
And
you
then
know.
your best friend, you
Yeah.
had a best friend. Like, if it was a girl best friend, and then you got a girl, and then you had to put her on one, and she like, oh, so I
That was
thought,
drama.
Like,
Yo,
That
didn't
was
they
the
get to a
whole
point?
job.
I think they got probably so much complaints about that or deal of situations that they ended up being able to be a point where you can hide
Take it off.
shit.
Yeah, you
were
can hide
able
it.
to hide
Yeah,
hide
you
it.
was do that. Yeah.
Because
nah, it was
there-
just hacks. It was just hacks.
It was hacks.
Just the new
It was
old
hack. Yeah,
hacks,
my
bro.
sister was
She used
the
to
hack.
help them pages.
Yeah, she
I
could have
used to
made
work-
so
used to
much
hide it too.
money making
like-
people's background. You know how many people's background she did?
Yeah.
Word.
Like half of Patterson, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
That shit
Like,
was, yeah, them shits
she was
fire.
very,
Like,
very,
with, like,
very
that-
smart with
my
that.
nigga, it was like getting your car pimped out. Like you would give this girl your Instagram, your Instagram, your username and password, and then that shit will come back pimped the fuck
Yeah.
out.
And
you
think
had
about it.
SpongeBob with blinked and shit and all
All
this and
that,
that.
like the name coming down,
Yeah.
the dope songs.
Yo, it was dope,
like
man.
you know what was funny for me, giving our information that freely. Like we were giving logins like
Yeah, we
nothing.
didn't care.
Yo, get on my Insta, get on my MySpace. Like there was times where I remember girls talking about you was talking to this bitch and be like, no, I gave my login to my boy. He was on there wilding out. And there was niggas that got really like
Yeah,
got caught
disrespectful.
or got dumped because their boy was on there being crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that shit
people
really
used
happened.
to. If you had back then, it wasn't like now. Like right now, like it's weird for me to be like, yo, let me see your phone or your computer. Back then, you used to go to like your boy's house and the computer was on. You just get in.
everybody, yeah.
Yeah, my house was like that too.
Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't even like, yo, let me use the computer real quick. Boom, boom, boom. It's just like it doesn't even
Music.
matter.
Ah,
Yeah.
yo,
Dude,
that's
it wasn't
crazy.
like it was not like we didn't have privacy like now. Like it was.
And we
just,
didn't
like,
care about privacy though.
Now they would just lock your ass out and then they'll log in. Like, yeah, I'm here.
because we were unfamiliar to what data was. Like it's a beginning.
It was
When
real.
your boys would start talking to other people on AIM, and pretending it was you. Like, yo,
Oh
that
my
shit used to happen
God.
so much.
You know what's crazy that I didn't get to experience it. And I'm glad I didn't because I would have probably had problems with people doing that shit because there was people doing some side shit, like some weird shit on there too. But there was guys that would get on there and just like try to see how they would trick people to see if you noticed that they wasn't your boy or something like that. For me, I was in Dominican Republic. Like, and anybody I had contact with was really just people I remember from school 5, people that I knew, like you guys. Like, not even have Rafi. Like, I probably have Fernando, maybe, like Ariel, and so on. So for me, it was like the group of people that I knew when I left, and that was it. Because in Dominican Republic, when people were on social media, they were on High Five. So I was on MySpace, and then you got everybody in the block talking about High Five, and I'm like, it wasn't my thing because it just
You were more Americanized than that.
yeah. And then for people to go to and you know when you're from the hood over there, like I was in the hood in DR. Everybody there had to go to computer centers, so it wasn't like everybody had a computer in their home. I had mine in my room, and it would be like, yo, let me go to your house real quick and use a computer, and be like, nah, dog, you can't come to the crib. Like, we because people will rob, like,
Yeah.
te robaban, habían ladrones. So we would just like meet me at the computer center, and I would pay for people sometimes.
I used to
use
do
the
that.
computers and
I used
stuff
to
like
do that shit in the art. So I used to when I used to go stay there for like 3 months for like summer when I was going to school here.
You go to
I
the
used
computer
this
center?
Computer center, catch up with all the girls that I was talking to.
Yeah, be like, yo, when I come back,
it's gonna be gay. You know, you go to AIM. Yo, my AIM, I used to have girls by locations, Patterson, Passaic, Clifton. I don't know if you remember that. Like every time we used to that game, I said,
that was a thing though. That was a thing where you had to know what hood, like what town the girl you were talking to was from. Like the way you would cheat would be by having girls in different
areas.
areas. Like I got a girl in Newark, I got a girl in fucking Hackensack. Like you would venture off to at least close towns to have girls that you know don't barely come to your side of town.
But there is at least a good, decent bus ride. You know, you
Yes.
can just take a bus
Yeah.
ride real
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
Meet at the mall or something
Yeah,
like
but-
that.
You know they all met at the Dominican parades, right?
Oh no, those Dominican parades were life, man. I miss those. What?
Yeah.
Back then,
that's the problem.
I used to go
They all
there.
meet there.
They all
They
meet-
see
they all
you.
meet there.
They're like, oh hey.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh.
That's the first time you meet somebody. I used to be excited going over there. Like I wonder who I'm gonna meet today.
Think about it, like today, right? Because social media, we feel like we're meeting people every day.
Yeah.
Like we're online. We have I have almost 2,000 followers.
Yeah.
I don't know these people like from a hole in the wall. Some of them I do, some of them I don't. So back in the day, our way of meeting people was in large gatherings where you would actually be able to see the people that you normally wouldn't see on a daily basis because everybody went to different schools.
Mm-hmm.
You lived in Passaic, this person lived in things. So like when people would get together on one of these, you know,
Parties.
parties,
It was
or all
house
these-
parties all the time.
or the house parties, or just the festivals.
Yeah.
You would be like, yo, I'm gonna run up there and I'm gonna be moving quick, but I'm gonna get some numbers. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Like you had a whole set. Like I'm gonna meet some girls.
Yeah.
It was the same thing when we went to the malls. Like I got to do that when I would come to the from DR in the summertime. I would go to the mall and that's where we would see the girls. And be like, yo,
There
I saw
too,
this
yeah.
girl that she was so like. And we would want to find them online, but it wasn't that easy back in the day. So it was just like, oh my god, this shit was fire. And if you didn't have the balls to talk to her in the mall, that's it. Last time you
It's
probably
gone.
ever saw her.
Mm-hmm.
She might have been from New York.
Yeah, I remember all of that. You used to go to the motel to tell. I used to go to the
Yeah.
motel to tell.
Today we can just be online scrolling for hours, looking into people's lives, so-called lives.
Yeah.
Like
Made up
today,
lives in many
yeah.
cases.
I mean, think about it. When I talk about my experience and that, you know, traumatic experience and
Yeah.
Fernando's traumatic experience being catfish like that. Today, people do still do catfish. Like they might not lie of what they look like, but they do hide who they really are or what they really go through in life.
Well,
Like,
they lie how they look like too.
and I'm gonna correct that because I've been there. I'm not gonna say they. I'm gonna say we. You know, because there's parts of our lives that we don't share online that we might not be proud of, but anything that is fire or we find like, yo, we're gonna get tons of like for whatever is cool, we'll post it on there. And today, man, being authentic is very rare. Like it's very rare for a person to be fully authentic. I think that's why Cardi B was such a big deal. If you look at like people that have become big influencers, and you wonder like, yo, like she just went instead of like she was always vulgar, she was doing this, but she really like had moments where I would have deleted that video. Like, are you wildin'? But she didn't care, and I think that personality it sticks out for a lot of people, and because not everybody has the balls to do that, because we all live a double life. Social media has allowed us to be like social media reality, but then there's real life reality. And today, more and more, like before I used to ignore that thing, I'd be like, but you're just having fun on it. But today, I pay more attention to that, or I understand it more. Like, that is true, man. Like, you see what it is. And then we get lost in that, man. Like, we get lost in that world sometimes. And we move in real life how we move on social media. And then that's why we suffer from these, like, anxiety attacks or, you know, depression or, you know, just, like, feeling like you're left behind in the world. Like, you're not doing something right. And it takes away sometimes. Like, if we look at the causes and effects of social media or just the digital era we're in right now, I think that's one of them. Those are one of the effects that we live in today. And we're learning that this might be there might be like a mental term for it. Because you know how we're learning about mental health? Social media might be creating some new type of mental health, and we're just in the moments of it right now. Tomorrow they might diagnose this thing, right? Yeah. Because the mental health conversation is growing more and more because a lot more people are feeling like they're there and they're like, yo, I'm hurting and I don't know why, or I'm in this place and I don't know why. And sometimes we might be able to connect it with social media in some way.
A lot of people feel some type of way also because, you know, like it's like you said, they see someone live a life on social media and then they feel like, damn, like I went to school with this person, we're the same age, and look at my life, look at their life. Like they start comparing. When you start comparing, that shit fucks you up. Because now you feel like you're maybe behind or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then you start thinking like, oh, I need to improve that, I need to do that, I need to do this. And then at the end of the day, that person is just Instagram fronting or whatever. And now you just like maybe spent a whole bunch of money on outfits or whatever, or did wild shit, and maybe even end up in depression because of the way you feel about it.
Because you look back at certain things and you feel like those things only filled you for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were moments that you felt like, oh, I might be happy if I did this and people notice this, or I got attention for this. You know, like, it's all about
The likes,
getting
the
the attention and everything like that. But if we look at simpler times, man, like, I can see moments where I was able to live where I can disconnect from technology. Today it's harder because we carry it, but I think that it was so dope that I could have left everything home,
dude, relax,
and just walk out the crib, get in my bike and drive and ride around the town and really like see things and really like, I don't know, experience life in a different way. It's so hard to express it, but I'm glad I went to Dominican Republic in one part in the part where I felt like we were behind a little bit on technology. So we were still in the times where you go out and you do certain like traditional things with your family, or you hang with your boys, and everybody had a meet time and everybody had like a little routine, and you go out and ride bikes. Like today, it just you can't get that feeling again like that.
Everything is automated.
Yeah,
way,
like you can't get that
through text messages. So
that
like
real feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to set up a time. You're like, we're meeting up at 3, cool, but like, you stay in contact throughout the whole time.
The whole time, like, you don't get anxiety anymore when like unless your phone dies, you don't get anxiety like when you go out to meet your, but like, you know, like those are like adventures in a way. Like you get lost and you're trying to find the house
Nigga,
number.
nowadays you want to have an adventure, leave your phone at your house and leave.
You want to have a fucking bad day. That's what you want to have.
When you at work, all the way in New York. Fuck, I gotta be here 8 hours. No phone.
No phone.
Bro, that's an adventure. Being at work.
So that happened to you
day.
before?
That happened to me twice. At work, completely at work, trying to remember phone numbers to call from my work phone. Like,
That's how I know Fernando's a faithful nigga.
why?
Because it's his phone.
Because if he was a
I would've went back.
He would have been back. He would have been back to the crib. Like, yo, I forgot my phone. Fuck my job.
He would've-
Fuck my job.
He would have never gotten to work without his phone. He would have, as soon as he got in his car, my phone. I would have been in.
Nah, but I mean,
This nigga don't give a fuck. Yo, I
Yeah,
left my
but
phone.
nah,
Check
'cause-
whatever you want
Yeah,
for 8
nah,
hours
nah.
straight.
I wasn't living with anyone.
Oh no? Oh, okay.
Living with my
Listen,
mom, so.
I mean, hey,
But
pull
still,
up to the
I
crib.
had nothing to hide. It didn't matter.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Where's the remote?
Is getting your ass.
Oh, technical difficulty.
You post it?
Yeah, we go. Hey man, this is the Cause and Effect podcast, baby.
This is part of the effects, you feel me?
That was the cause.
Nah, man. So, you know, when you say that, like, I was watching Seinfeld and I was telling Rafi the story where, you know, the whole premise of the show was you're gonna look out for your boy. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna get deep into the episode because we're gonna leave that for another one. But the point was this homie got lost and couldn't find him, and dude is in Carajo land, and you gotta find your boy. Like, you left in a car. At that time, they had cars that had phones
So
inside the
yonkers?
car that you
Yeah.
can actually call people with. He didn't have that. Like, he had to go to Long Island
No,
from somewhere in New York. I think it was the Bronx or something like that.
yeah.
And he lasted till 2 a.m. in somebody's house, just sitting in the couch waiting to get picked up.
It was Kramer, right?
Yes, yes, it was Kramer. Yeah, you know. So when I look at that, man, like it brought me back to the times where like you left the house and you better have some quarters. You better have somebody like with a
Word.
backup plan.
And you better be okay with being in your head, because this is gotta have to sit and wait.
Sit and wait. Sit and fucking wait. And nah, you would have like I would be with my boys. We would.
But if
have
you
a
by
ball.
yourself, though, if you by yourself, like, you gotta just sit and wait.
Nigga. Or you gotta be good at taking buses. Like, that was my fear too. Like, at one point when I came from Dominican Republic, I had to learn how to take the buses.
Yeah.
Bro, I fucking hated that. Because I would get anxiety, dog. Like, I'm like, yo, they're gonna leave me in the block that I'm not supposed to get dropped off at. Like,
No.
like, I used to always be, like, scared of getting dropped off or stopping somewhere. Because coming from DR, I was getting confused sometimes with the streets. And I was nervous because at that time there was a war going on. And I was like, yo, I would hate to fall on the wrong block on the wrong day. So, like, that was, like, an adventure for me. Because at the time, yes, I believe I had a phone. But no, I had a fucking whack-ass phone. And I didn't really know people like that. Like, I wasn't cool with people like that. Like I had a job, but we wouldn't talk like that on the daily when I was going to, I was in high school. So at that time I was like, yo, who got my back if I'm dropped off on one of these blocks? Like I end up stepping off on one of these blocks and now I gotta wait for the next bus.
Yeah.
I had a couple moments like that where I almost got ran up on because of that.
And then it's when you started making those friends.
Oh yeah. You start making sure you rub shoulders with everybody that you can in high school, so at least somebody will remember you and be like, yo, he good, like leave him alone. Like I got saved a couple times because of that.
I had a family member that was supposed to take the bus to the mall and ended up in New York.
That sucks, man. That sucks.
And then they borrow somebody's cell phone or whatever, all the way over there in New York. Like, yo de Nueva York.
¿Cómo llego para atrás?
Like, my man, you were supposed to meet me here at the mall. Like, how the fuck?
It was on the Mira bus?
Huh?
It was on the Mira bus?
The Mira bus. So that's fucked up.
Yeah, I think it's going.
'Cause I know they were Spanish, so they could have told the band.
You could have told them, like, yo, fam,
Yeah.
you should stop.
And then we had to, like, figure all out. Thanks God the person that lent them the phone was, like, helpful enough to, like, get the driver to, like, tell him, like, yo, he needs to go here. Like, make sure he gets out
sure
here.
he gets there.
He had him in the front like this. Like, all right, get out now.
Get out.
Yeah.
Just stop, boy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's an adventure. He had an adventure.
Man, times was...
With no technology, because nowadays you could just Google, like, how I get here or whatever. Or,
I'm so
even,
spoiled.
Yeah. Use GPS.
GPS spoiled.
I don't go anywhere without a GPS.
You haven't had to
My
use the
uncle-
bus,
and yo, I
the
hate
bus
when- I
map,
hate-
like the schedule, like the...
I remember those.
Yeah.
I remember those.
But I hate when my uncle used to give me directions, like, oh yeah, this street and then this street and then you make a left and you see this thing. I'm like, bro, just give me the address. I'm putting that shit on my phone.
Yeah, that's it. I need to know the turns.
And look, before we
photos
even
of them.
had a phone with GPS, we had to buy the real GPS.
Oh yeah, what was it called?
The Tom-Toms.
Tom-Toms.
So,
yeah.
you know how many people used to rob, like,
The
people
garments.
get in people's
Tom-Tom
cars
garments.
just to sell
Yeah.
them shits?
Yeah, that was the
Dude,
thing.
yeah. I used to make mad money with selling that shit.
¿Tú los robabas?
No, like commission, because they used to get stolen. They used to go to my store and buy them. So.
Or you was working in Radio Shack?
I think so. One of them.
Man, listen, I like reminiscing when it comes to like the eras we come from, because I'm lucky enough to cut, like, that 1993 was like the cutoff. Like after that, everybody that was born after that were
They got
already
very
born
little.
into technology.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
able to
yeah.
be in between it being developed.
Mhm.
So when we talk about all these apps, and today we're on Instagram and you can do all these things and you can have a multi-million-dollar studio, so to speak, but not have the money and equipment equivalent to that, but still create something that's equivalent to that shit.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing. Like, still, there's times that I come and sit in this studio and I'm like, fam, what the fuck? Like, I remember the cameras on our computers, those cheap-ass quality cameras, like,
They were round. You had to put
they
them
were
on
round,
top.
you had to put them up, and then they got a little bit better. Logitech
Logitech.
took a lot of people's money, because they were alright, but they wasn't that good. Like,
Yeah.
I remember buying that brand in the Dominican Republic, and it always went bad. Always went bad. Never had a real good experience with any of that technology. Today, we have a whole entire Canon phone. A whole entire Canon camera in our phone. So I mean, it's something to talk about, because when we talk about, cultura, when we talk about the causes and effect, like, it affected us in a positive and a negative way in our culture. Like, today we can find a lot of things that are rooted because of technology. So I think that down the line we're gonna figure out ways to kind of like turn off, the online world. Because today is hard. Like, you look at Fernando talking about it's going to be a bad day if you left your phone. And I agree, because you're going to really have to be creative on what you're going to do with yourself. There's times that I just grab my phone, just to grab it and put it down.
Mm-hmm.
That is addiction right there.
Yeah.
And that's all off of Pornhub and shit.
Oh my God.
That's true.
Oh Lord.
Oh, Lord. Yo, this is completely off topic, but I remember working in a cell phone store and, like,
Oh my
thinking
God.
about watching porn, right, with my phone. I would be very careful on whose phone I would grab in the cell phone store. Like, you never just got, like, Like, yo, my man, your phone look crazy. I'm not touching that shit. Like, I would have to fix people's phones and cell phones. So
you mean like grabbing customers' phone and then finding porn on their phone?
No, just grabbing their phone. Period. You know how much fucking I never thought to grab a wipe and wipe it down. You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
like that. I'm saying it's completely off topic, but when I talk about like Pornhub and all that, like people's phones, man, they got a lot of. A lot of things. A lot of things on there.
There was some guy complaining why his internet was slow, and then I went to his browser, and the first thing that popped up was that. So I'm like, mira primo por eso.
How awkward is that? That exchange.
Very awkward.
Like the person looks at you like, tú no lo haces también.
I broke it like that. I'm like, primo, pero por eso, and he just started laughing. He felt ashamed, and he's just like, nah, bro, I'll pay for the extra internet. I'll walk out.
I had this dude come in, and his phone was completely black.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know what happened to the phone. And, you know, I'm making conversation. The first thing, our instinct is, let me see your phone. Grab the phone. Yeah, you know, I woke up this morning, my lady left early for work. I got a little excited. And I look up, and as I have the phone in my hand, he goes, you know, I got a little excited. I started watching some porn.
Bro.
That's open.
I put the phone down at that point. He saw my reaction. He goes, don't worry, I washed it before coming here.
He washed it?
Like he cleaned it. Deep. I was like, I looked at the thing and I'm like, come on, fam. Nah, but the phone just went black. I think I got a virus. It was an Android. I'm like,
probably.
I'm like, you definitely got a virus. You got to fix this phone. I can't fix it. Like,
you
take
just
your phone.
Didn't want to do nothing
nope.
with it.
I was and there wasn't nothing to do with it. I wasn't gonna connect it to the computer. None of that. I was like, nah. Take that phone with you, dog. Buy a new one. and I remember his face was just like, you know, we guys, like, he's trying to justify it after all that.
Sometimes, you know?
And I'm just like, fam, nah. You just grab your phone, dog. Like, you can't just tell me you just jerked off and came and brought me this phone. Like, you left your house mad as hell. Like, I couldn't even get the whole nut.
Like, hey, let me put it away real quick. I gotta go now and fix this fucking phone up.
Help me out as soon as it's nut.
I gotta finish before my wife get home.
And then you find yourself telling me that. Like, come on, dog.
You know what I'm saying?
You fix it, thank you. He gets in the car like, shit.
Hey, let me finish this shit.
He was like, just in case he sees what I was looking at, let me just make sure.
Yeah,
Listen,
that's terrible.
man, like, yeah, that is technology, folks.
And this was our back in the day story.
Yeah. No,
you know what I love? I love being able to restart. Oh, no, I'm not talking about restarting the episode.
Oh, I'm thinking, alright.
No, I'm good. We're 42 minutes in. We can cut this off if we want to. Where we want to go with this? From here.
Closing it? How are we gonna close it?
We want
I
to
thought you
close
were
out. We were closing it with the conversation of...
Yeah.
All right, bet. Okay, I remember what I said.
Yeah.
Back to the conversation, like, people can recreate themselves online, as long as you're not misleading anybody and just portraying something that, man, fuck it. I'm not even gonna say it because the fuck is gonna listen to that. Like, people gonna do it. People gonna fake it till they make it. I'm just more aware of it today. I don't live by the standards of people's IG. I don't live by the standards of what I think people are gonna like if I post. Like, I post what I like. Today, I'm more like aesthetically inclined. Like, I want to make sure that it looks aesthetically appealing for me, and I want to give somebody a dope experience when they go through my Instagram account. But as far as what I like and what I post, nah. Like, I can care less. Like,
at this point, right?
Yeah, at this point, we know who we talk to, we know who we do it for, and I think that just opened my eyes more when we talk about Instagram and we talk about all these past social media profiles that we grew from. It just shows me, like, different stages in my life of trying to figure out who I wanted to be and present to the world. Yeah, at one point I was unconsciously doing it, and at one point I was seeing the people that were popping off and becoming influencers, quote unquote, and try to follow trends. And today I can say I'm in a place where I'm more comfortable with who I am and being able to just openly talk about shit like this that we talked on here, and being able to post my life in a way where it's not trying to come off a certain way. Because even when we did past businesses, we came off as, people that had it before even having it. You know, so today I just appreciate more authenticity, man. And I think that's what our main goal. I don't know. I think you guys can agree to that. Cause and Effect Podcast, UDM Network, everything that we do and everybody we work with, we either like them because they're authentic, and we feel like more people should be talking about that versus the people that are just putting on a show. You know, so thank you for tuning into the Cause and Effect Podcast, Season 2, Episode 1. Go and like,
share,
subscribe,
save, and talk to somebody about us. Leave a comment and go to www.causeandeffectpod.com. Get you a Cause and Effect Podcast sweater if you love the show.
If you want to match with us,
go and get some cultura gear.
Look out for your boys.
You know,
this shit cheap.
I was gonna say something, but yeah. Support. We're gonna put that song. You know that song from when people están pidiendo dinero.
For
that little song, the little
for
sad
just
song.
20 cents a day. 20 cents a day. We can help the Cause and Effect Podcast survive another year.
Another year.
20 cents a day.
We're in the pandemic.
Yeah.
In the pandemic.
Panorama.
Pandemic.
We're in the Bugatti.
We're in the Bugatti.
We're in the Bugatti. Dile Alfa. Hold on, guys. I still gotta play the song.
Yo me quito la mía ya.
Está ahí también.
4K, 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 KK. Va a tener que poner esa vaina en otro lado.
¿Ah?
Alright. I'm gonna play it anyways. Yeah, niggas is horny.
Talking about.
Can you cut that part down? Oh, we couldn't put it on.